if I want to, I can automate a browser. I can also call multiple different agents directly using these local models. It's just to show you that even a local model is now able to perform very well on such a small device. Let's take a look very quickly to the hardware. I'm not a cameraman, so sorry about this. But as you can see, it's so small, like you can put it easily even on your pocket, but at least in a small bag. And again, you just have to connect it to a power adapter right here, and then by USB or USB-C to your laptop. And the amazing part is everything is running in this small thing. So basically, you can even do something which is quite demanding in terms of resources in your laptop, even if it's not powerful enough to usually run large language models. That's not a big deal because everything, all the inference is running in this small form factor. And again, just put it in a small bag and you're ready to go. Basically, it's your own ChatGPT server inference directly on any desk, basically anywhere in the world, which is just amazing. And nothing is communicating with a server. So it's fully local. You can have the best privacy options using this small hardware. And yeah, that's just perfect if you are using, like me, a good enough laptop, but not powerful enough to inference large language models. And another quick note is that I'm running it for the past few days now and nonstop. I'm never turning it off, and it's just warm. It's not hot even. So even if you're connecting your OpenClaw instance or any agent, you can basically still run it through Tiiny without worrying about the power consumption since it's very low, or the fact that the device will eventually run hot. It's not the case. I'm not the best when it comes to recording with the camera, but you got the point. It's so small, and again, you have a huge power in it. What I mean by that is, for example, let's take a look at the model store. So right here, I'm in TinyOS, which is something you can install for free, of course, once you have the device on Windows, but also macOS. And then inside the model store, you will be able to pick any model you can think of. And you're not limited to just text generations model. For example, right here, you have the image turbo, which is a text to image one, but you can also think about some sense voice model, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a speech recognition one. So if you want to build apps or just basically upload some audio and transcribe it, you can do this. Again, everything on this small device. So you're not just limited to one type of modality. Awesome. And let's run it. And as you can see, the first token delay is actually very, very short. So sometimes if you already tried to run your own models on your laptop or computer, you know that you will have to wait quite a bit before the small token is starting to appear. And right now it was almost instant. So that's just very cool. So here we have our small point, but the thing is, the point was just to show you the speed of the thing. And right here, I can start a new conversation. I have also my chat history. I can attach files. So it's basically a replacement of ChatGPT, but locally. You are not sending your data to a third-party provider like OpenAI, Anthropic, or whatever. Everything stays in your small device and in your own laptop. You also have some agents. So let's take a look at the agent store. Right here, for example, you have TinyBots, which is just an alternative to OpenClaw. So you will be able to connect it to Telegram, WhatsApp, or whatever you want, even Discord. And if you're interested, like I am, to build things using AI and local LLMs, I've just installed this kilo code Tiiny. So as I said right before, it's just a way to put kind of a Claude code directly inside your IDE, here VS Code, and just code for free, generate code for free, and build things for free, since everything is running on the Tiiny hardware. So let's give it a try. Right here, as you can see, I've just clicked on Get and everything is basically already set up inside VS Code. Here we have the Tiiny provider, so I could even just cut my internet connection without any issue, and I'm using this model for now. Click on Save and Done, and let's ask it to generate just a short but beautiful landing page to appreciate the speed. Awesome, and let's just send it, and now let's wait and appreciate the speed. So as you can see, it's already starting working on it, and if I go back here inside the Tiiny application, TiinyOS, as you can see, the NPU is now at full charge, 100%, so everything again is now loaded inside the small hardware, and right here you can see the agent KiloCode Tiiny is now working. And here we are now, it's starting, and as you can see, everything is just starting to look pretty smooth, to be honest. And keep in mind that it's a beta version using GLM 4.7 Flash, which is quite a large model. And as you can see, the lines are just appearing by themselves. I'm not touching anything, and everything is running not on my laptop, but on the Tiiny device. And as you can see, it's pretty smooth. In my opinion, it's a good stress test since we can appreciate the quality of the model. So we know that GLM 4.7 Flash is a good model, but sometimes when you're inferencing on a laptop, for example, you have to downgrade the quality of the model because it's easier for the machine to run it. But here on Tiiny, you have no compression loss, basically. And as you can see in our HTML file, we already have more than 300 lines of code, and it just keeps going. So even the context is well handled right here. And as you can see, the first file is now completed, I guess, since we have our almost 400 lines of code, and now we have a new checkpoint, and it starts working on the CSS part. So basically the styling of the page. And look at how strong are these local models now. I'm quite amazed by the fact that we can inference such a good thing on such a small device, actually. Like, we have now almost another 400 line of code in addition to the first index.html one. And right after, if I'm not mistaken, we will have our JavaScript one for interactivity. So that's just very cool. So cool to be able to do this everything locally. And now the very last file of the to-do list. It's now working on the interactivity from the script.js file. And again, it keeps going. As you can see, it already has spent, I think it's the number of tokens here. So more than 20,000 tokens. And it just keeps going. So that's so cool. Okay, the files are now written. So I think it's now testing by itself, but I'm quite curious and I want to open it myself. So let's do this. All right. And that's pretty good. Let's keep in mind that everything was generated locally on this small device. And like, of course, you have this purple feel since we are generating using AI, but still it's just so clean. We even have some animations. So that's just so good. And again, you can just use this local agent without spending anything in terms of API code because everything is running on Tiiny. But another important thing, at least in my opinion, is the fact that you can use it as a local server. And what I mean by that is that you can connect Tiiny and the model you have loaded right here to use it in any app because it has a built-in API option. So here, if I'm clicking on API key, as you can see, I have my API base URL and an API key. And it means that it can replace everything basically. So if you're using usually an app that requires to use an OpenAI API key or a Claude one, you can replace this by this API key. and this base URL, so you're not paying anymore or sending your data to a third-party server, but everything is just running inside this small device. I want to show you a quick example of this because for me it's just mind-blowing. The most probably popular use case right now is OpenClaw and all these OpenClaw alternatives in general. And as you probably know, it costs a bit to run it 24/7 because you have to pay a lot of money in terms of API credits. So using such a device, you just have to pay for the electricity because the model is running inside it. And since it's using an NPU and not an expensive and energy intensive hardware, so right here, I have a small example. So I'm just here using Hermes agent instead of OpenClaw because it's just lighter, it's just an alternative. So think of it like OpenClaw, but a bit lighter. And as you can see, using again this API, again, I can show you it here. Using this API based URL and API key, I was able to connect it to Tiiny. So now my agent is running using local LLM instead of a server one. If I want to, I can just perform any type of task using this model, the model I chose. So again, here I'm using GLM 4.7 Flash because it's a very good one for a lot of different tasks. If I want to, I can automate a browser. I can also call multiple different agents directly using these local models. And for the example, I want this local model to automate a browser task. So right here, I've just created an example, which is just a form that must be completed. And right here, as you can see, I have only 2 responses. So let's run it and discover if the agent is able to just perform the task using the local and private LLM inside Tiiny. And now, as you can see, it starts analyzing my prompts and everything. And let's take a look to Tiiny. As you can see, here, the NPU utilization is now at 100%. And even if I'm not chatting directly inside this UI, because it's calling the API behind the scene, so it's basically my own small server in some way, by the fact I'm not paying to use it to Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, or whatever. So as you can see, it's running, and now we will just have to wait a bit to see if it's able to automate this browser task. It's not something that trivial, to be fair, because the agent and the model has to understand the structure of the page. It has to just understand what I want to put in the different fields. So it's just to show you that even a local model is now able to perform very well on such a small device. So let's wait a bit. Awesome. So it has already started to open the right page, which is the form one. Here it's just starting to understand the page itself and the structure. And it's even starting to populate now the different fields. As you can see, it's just reading my instructions, understanding the page, then typing and clicking in the different fields. So that's something, again, quite impressive regarding the fact that everything is running on Tiiny. And the other very important point, at least in my opinion, is that, for example, here the agent is running directly inside my laptop, and Tiiny is a decentralized one, a decentralized solution. So my laptop is free to perform any task, and it's just leveraging an additional power, which is the Tiiny one. So it doesn't have to manage both the LLM inference and the task. So you basically have all the power of your laptop, which is free to perform whatever you want. And now the form is submitted successfully. Let's take a look. And yeah, we switched from 2 responses to 3 ones, check individual results. And the third one, yep, as you can see, the agent and the local LLM running on Tiiny was able to just perform the task. Again, I'm very impressed because everything is running on such a small device. I've been running it for like few days now, almost a week, and the device is still warm but not hot, so you can inference anything you want, even if you're using OpenClaw, for example. Um, the good thing is that you will be able to just keep the tiny device powered and just hit it whenever you want through Telegram without worrying of the power consumption or if it's running too hot, because it's literally never the case, and you will be able to automate any type of tasks privately. So yeah, again, it's only a brief introduction. Everything you need to know will be below in the descriptions or in the next comment. If you want to take a look at the device, it just when you compare it, for example, to a Mac Studio, which is much more expensive, here everything is running on such a small form factor and less expensive than other solutions when it comes to running local LLMs. So feel free to take a look right below and let me know if you have any questions. Probably not the last time we will hear about this device.